Welcome to the Explainer. Right now, we're tackling a massive, urgent shift happening in the human services landscape. If you're an intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD, and autism service provider, you already know the ground under your feet is shifting. We're talking about the absolutely crucial need to become completely data-driven if you want to survive and honestly thrive in today's rapidly changing reimbursement landscape. So let's be real for a second. In a market that's aggressively consolidating and moving toward value-based care, are you just guessing, or do you actually know your value? If your executive leadership team is still relying on manual spreadsheets that take weeks to compile, well, you're basically operating in the dark. It's time to step into the light. Here's a quick look at our strategic roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll start with the landscape, look closely at Mainstay Life Services' incredible transformation, talk about conquering value-based reimbursement, navigating mergers, and finally wrap up with how you can build this exact competitive advantage for your own agency. All right, let's dive right into part one, the human services landscape and the seismic shifts in reimbursement. You know, agencies are up against this massive evolution right now. Think about it. In the past, we had the cost reporting era. Then, pretty recently, we transitioned into fee-for-service. And now, we are hurtling straight into value-based reimbursement and managed care. State funding models are evolving at breakneck speed. Take Pennsylvania, for example. They recently shifted over to performance-based contracting. The days of simply submitting your expenses, yeah, those are gone. Now, you actually have to prove your outcomes. To survive this kind of evolution, you've got to hear this hard-hitting truth from Kim Sonnefeld, the CEO of Mainstay Life Services. She says, if you don't have a margin, you don't have a mission. Now, Mainstay is going to be our hero case study today. Kim and her team realized pretty early on that to protect their mission of supporting people with intellectual disabilities and autism, they had to lock down their financial reality first. Which brings us to part two, Mainstay's data-driven transformation, from silos to a single source of truth. Back in 2018, Mainstay was an $18 million traditional residential provider. They were super well respected, but they needed to scale, diversify their continuum of care, and basically fundamentally change how they operated. The contrast between the old way and the new way is pretty stark. The old way is, frankly, painful. Manual spreadsheets, vital data completely trapped in electronic health records, and a culture of reactive guessing. But Mainstay partnered with the BI Collaborative to build the new way. They created an automated dashboard that provided a single source of truth. They essentially moved their data out of silos and built this proactive, transparent culture where everyone, from the board of directors right down to the frontline managers, could see the real-time facts. And the result of establishing that single source of truth? 90%. That's the amount of data management that the BI Collaborative platform automated for Mainstay. I mean, just think about the time saved. By automating 90% of their data management, Mainstay actually operates with zero internal IT employees. None. All while growing their revenue from $18 million to over $35 million. That is literally a game changer for their operating budget. So how did they organize all this complex data? They used a balanced scorecard format, breaking everything down into 4 simple categories: financial, operations, quality and compliance, and HR and training. And it's all color-coded and really simple: red, yellow, and green. If a metric is red, it's not a panic-inducing crisis. It's just a clear signal to ask questions and make adjustments before the month even closes. It's so intuitive that even their board of directors digest the whole thing effortlessly. Now we reach part 3, conquering value-based reimbursement, winning in performance-based contracting. Because hey, having great dashboards is nice, but the ultimate test of this infrastructure came when Pennsylvania rolled out that performance-based contracting. Suddenly, providers woke up to a total compliance nightmare. Over 70 measures they had to hit just to secure their funding. We're talking strict 24-hour incident reporting, health risk screening tool, or HRST, data integration, and proving technology adoption. For an agency relying on manual spreadsheets, a list like that is terrifying. But for Mainstay, it was actually a massive opportunity. This is where data transparency becomes an absolute superpower. When performance-based contracting launched, Mainstay looked at their dashboard and saw, okay, they were missing one specific incident reporting metric. So they didn't guess, they didn't blindly apply and just hope for the best. Instead, they strategically applied for the primary tier in year 1, used their real-time data to improve that specific metric, and then confidently secured the higher, much more lucrative select tier in year 2. They played the long game, and they won. Now, a major part of the state's new requirements involved adopting and tracking remote support technology. Mainstay rolled this out across 19 of their 42 homes, combining remote tech with in-person support to really enhance health, wellness, safety, and independence for the people they serve. But because they are so fiercely data-driven, they didn't just deploy the tech and walk away, they tracked the exact return on investment. And the financial impact? Over $300,000 in hard net savings. Mainstay achieved this because they were able to safely reallocate 15 direct support professionals to other areas of need by utilizing this technology. In an industry completely starved for rate increases and staff, finding over $250,000 in savings, that's monumental. But honestly, those financial savings kind of pale in comparison to this next stat. 0%. In those tech-enabled homes, the turnover for the in-person DSPs dropped to 0%. By using tech to handle the routine monitoring, the staff actually got to focus on what brings meaning to the lives of the individuals they support. Better jobs mean happier staff, which means zero turnover. And the data proved it. All right, this brings us to part 4, navigating mergers and affiliations, consolidating from a position of strength. Because aside from the reimbursement changes, the other massive pressure hitting the human services market right now is rapid M&A consolidation. Agencies are merging at an unprecedented rate just to survive. When Mainstay did decide to affiliate with Keystone Human Services, Kim summed up their leverage perfectly. She simply said, "We knew our value." And here's the absolute crucial distinction. They didn't do it out of financial desperation. Because their data was transparent and pristine, they knew exactly how strong they were. They weren't looking to be rescued, they dictated their own terms. By evaluating their strategic pillars, they easily proved their attractiveness as a partner. Financially, zero debt, and they owned all their homes. Operationally, they had an automated BI platform with zero IT overhead. Quality-wise, they'd already achieved the state's highly coveted select tier. Having a single source of truth proves your valuation to any potential partner. You aren't asking them to trust your word, you're literally showing them the math. And because they had that rock-solid data foundation, Mainstay had the luxury of choosing a partner based purely on mission alignment. They chose Keystone because they both believed in innovation and enriching lives. It allowed them to build on each other's strengths, rather than just, merging to keep the lights on. Finally, part 5, building your competitive advantage, the foundation for AI in the future. Let's bring this whole thing home with some actionable takeaways for your own agency. If you want this kind of competitive advantage, you really have to stop working on the data and start working with it. Step 1, you must integrate your disparate systems, your EHR, your HR, your finance software, into one single source of truth. Step 2, build a small cross-functional data governance team, so all your departments own the data integrity together. And step 3, implement those simple red, yellow, green scorecards so your frontline managers can actually understand and act on the information instantly. Now, a quick but crucial warning here about the future, specifically regarding artificial intelligence. Everyone's talking about AI right now, but remember this phrase: AI amplifies, it doesn't purify. If your underlying data infrastructure is a mess of broken spreadsheets and manual entry, AI is not going to magically fix it. Actually, scratch that. It'll just give you bad answers faster. Good, clean, automated data via a BI platform is the absolute mandatory foundation for any future predictive analytics. So, I want to leave you with this question. Are you building the data foundation today to secure your mission for tomorrow? The shift to managed care and industry consolidation, it's not pausing to let you catch up. As Mainstay showed us, the agencies that invest in data clarity today are the ones who will dictate their own value, secure the highest reimbursements, and ultimately provide the best care for the people they serve tomorrow. It's time to stop guessing and start knowing. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.